Check this out. Workers at a nature reserve in Washington pouring water on a giant octopus to help this guy return back into the ocean. They got him there just in time, really, thanks to a little girl who spotted him, used her toy bucket to pour a little water on him. Then the professionals arrived to make sure it all gets done safely. And I guess he weighs almost 100 pounds, Rob. That's a big octopus there.
Wow.
Ugh.
Never seen anything quite like that. And the good news is afterwards, they all went out for calamari.
Calamari!
To celebrate. I don't, that's,
Calamari,
I don't know if that's true or not. But well done.
It is. Just
Nice
being
work.
honest here. Yeah.
Oh, man. Let's begin, as we like to do here in Afternoon Focus. Stories from the very top of our feed. Here we go. Great news for all of you music lovers out there.
Yeah, that's right. A new Whitney Houston gospel album and documentary has just been released. It's called I Go to the Rock, and the album features 6 songs that the lead singer recorded when she was just 17. You'll also hear tracks off The Preacher's Wife and The Bodyguard soundtracks. Oh my gosh. I just watched the I Want to Dance with Somebody movie last week. It's so good.
It was kind of an amazing life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tragic at the end, and my God, gone way too soon, but extraordinary talent, fascinating backstory, you know, and the marketing versus the reality, the marriage, and then the tragedy with her daughter and her mom, the gospel. I mean, it really is, her life and her talent were both staggering.
Absolutely incredible. And it's such a shame. And when I was watching it, I kept thinking, where would she be today if, you know, we know that she really succumbed to addiction. That was really, you know, what led to the spiraling and things, you know, going the way that they did, unfortunately. And you wonder, my gosh, with all that talent, where would she be had she not been affected by that?
She would have been, I think she would have aged as one of the queens, right? She would have been up there with the Patties and the
like
Gladyses
Diana
and the
Ross,
Arethas
exactly.
who lived a long time. And you know, but anyway, I can't wait to hear that album. When she was 17 too, still
my gosh.
young. Well, speaking of bringing older productions to new audiences, our next story focuses on a man with a very unique passion, which he projects for all in his town to see.
That's right, and as a result, people can be transported to far-off worlds or maybe into love stories, for instance. Megan Shin has the story from Indianapolis.
So you have to change the focus here.
It takes more setup,
Does it need to be spliced?
more effort
Is there something that's happening?
to project and preserve these old films.
I mean, there are all kinds of things that go on.
It's time worth taking. Film historian Eric Grayson.
There you go.
You see, he collects films
A lot of guys that can run projectors,
and projectors.
but people that know how the film works is a different story.
Call it a childhood passion turned into work he shares with our community.
The whole thrill of what I do is saying, oh, wow, here's something nobody's seen in 50 years. Here's something nobody's seen in 70 years. Here's something nobody's seen in 100 years. Let's share it with an audience again. I love that.
Grayson runs projectors across town, from New Fields to black and whites at Garfield Park.
Whoever calls me and says, can we run a film, I'm usually there. I've got a trunk full of film equipment.
He brings old films to you on 16 millimeter or larger.
It's a collaborative thing with an audience. If the film works, you can feel it. If it doesn't work, you can feel it.
Grayson makes sure you can feel movies together, decades after film reels deteriorate.
I'm doing a preservation for Library of Congress on a movie called King of the Congo.
That's not the only film for the Library of Congress.
Somebody came to me with a print of Little Orphan Annie from 1918. Our James Whitcomb Riley is in the film.
He's archived 4 films for the Library of Congress and a couple others now at IU.
They came to me with the Milan High School films, Milan High School from Hoosiers, and they had this pile of films that smelled like an old locker room because that's where they'd been for the last 50 years. Really, we got the semifinal and the final saved just as they were almost too far gone to go.
Call it a passion for flicks.
If I don't do this, it's not going to happen. It's going to be in a trash can in 2 years, and nobody's ever going to see it.
But it's work the community's grateful to see.
See them and be spellbound.
See, as far as technology has come since those days, it's so nice to see someone try to preserve that. You know, you know, like to see his passion in that regard, because no matter how advanced things get and everything's digital and downloaded and all that, you know, it all evolved from someplace. And it's nice that he's remembering, you know, a certain time and technology further back the chain, you know, down the chain.
Right, preserving that history. Yeah, it's great. And that can be fun, too, especially for kids of this generation who are like, you know, what kind of film the movie was on what? You know, it's not just like on my Roku. Yeah, exactly.
CD, what?
Like these items are all so foreign to them. So, yeah, what a cool way to, you know, go spend a night with friends, maybe watch a movie on a projector somewhere. I know sometimes like parks and things will do that, like in the summertime.
A little drive-through.
Yeah, drive-in movies.
Drive-ins.
Yeah,
wow.
so that's another fun way. Like are there drive-ins anymore? Like,
there's still a few
a couple,
scattered. Not what it used to be.
Yeah.
But little nostalgia there. I like that.
Right.
All right, time to get your popcorn ready as we bring you just a few quick stories that are fun to know, one of our favorite segments here on the show. And we're going to stick with our movie theme, because why not? And let's start with one of the biggest blockbusters of all time.
Yes, so big that it took more than 17 film reels to show. Titanic is what we're talking about. It's more than 3 hours long, as we know, and had 17,700 feet of film. That is more than 3 miles or nearly 20 actual Titanics. Whoa. And now to the reason why old movies look so choppy. This is all because of the speed of the movie cameras that recorded the images.
You see, they recorded at 16 frames per second, well, just a little quicker than the slowest speed needed for our brains to process images seamlessly. Anything less than 13 frames per second, and we will see each individual frame as its own picture. A little bit of movie technology there, huh?
Right.
Interesting. That's why, I see, you learn something every day here on the show. Finally, we take a little detour for a fun-to-know nugget that kind of blew our minds a little bit. This is interesting. Everyone, of course, knows the movie Die Hard, and there's a huge debate as to whether it falls in the canon of Christmas movies or not.
Or action movie. Yeah, I go action. What do you say?
I say Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah, just Christmas, yeah. Yes. Well, you may be surprised to know that Bruce Willis was not the first choice to star as the lead of that movie.
What?
Yeah.
All right, now brace yourselves, our friends. It is fun to know that the first person asked to play the role was 73-year-old old Blue Eyes himself, Frank Sinatra.
What?
I know. Here's why. In 1968, Sinatra starred in a movie called The Detective, and then a year later, the sequel, Die Hard, was written. And because of contractual obligations, when it was adapted into a movie, Sinatra had dibs, but he ended up declining.
Okay, now I'll stop. When you have to wonder why, but you would assume it had something to do with the fact that he was in his 70s, and not that age is a barrier.
Sure.
I get all that, but 73, when you think of that age and how physical a movie Die Hard was and what it required, you know, was he up to it, you know, or was he just uninterested, or had something else? Like, why did Frank say no? So who knew about Sinatra, and who knew Die Hard was a sequel? I know it had 40 sequels from the original Die Hard, but I didn't know the first one was a sequel to something else. Interesting there. Wow.
Blew my mind.
Yes.
Absolutely blew my mind. Because, you know, that's one of those movies that you can't imagine anybody else but the main character being played by who? It was played by Bruce Willis.
I mean, yippee-ki-yay.
Exactly. You know the rest.
You know the rest, yeah.
I mean, he was iconic. And so when you think of Bruce Willis, like, that is just one of the best movies of all time. He's one of the greatest actors of all time.
Love it.
Wow.
I watch it every time it's on. And by the way, in real life, going through some very serious health issues right now. So wishing him and his family well, because he's having some tough days. But legacy secure there, Mr. McClane. Well, we're serving up a few more positive stories coming up after the break. How a young baker is using her sweet skills to give back.
She watches a lot of Food Network chefs and YouTube baking constantly. And that's just how she learns. She picks it up, makes it her own.
Welcome back to the show. You know, we love sharing beauty shots of America with you, and this mesmerizing sunset time lapse is from the Smoky Mountains, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, to be exact. It's the most visited national park in the United States, and it runs through Tennessee and North Carolina.
And now you see why. Oh, look at that view. That is spectacular. Wow.
Just gorgeous.
That add a little peace of mind to your day. Just watch that. That's really nice. Wow. Well, the saying and song say children are our future. See, go back to the Whitney Houston. See, there you go.
We're just full circle.
Yeah,
on this
really
show.
nice. Well done, writers.
Yeah.
And with kids, next to young girl, it looks like the future is going to be pretty sweet. She started her own baking business from scratch and is now using all those treats to help others.
Yes, Faraz Javid is in Troy, Michigan with the story.
Genevieve Kashat is no ordinary 11-year-old.
I love baking so much.
The Troy-based girl owns Jen's Creations, an online bakery serving the Metro Detroit area since 2020.
I sell cupcakes, cakes, many different types of macarons.
Genevieve's passion for baking started at the age of 3 when she would watch her mom, Yvonne, make banana bread.
She claims it's the best banana bread that she's ever had.
And then over time, when I was like about 5 years old, I started making cake boxes by myself, putting stuff into the oven. And that's also around the time where I started watching Kids Baking Championship.
She watches a lot of Food Network chefs and YouTube baking constantly. And that's just how she learns. She picks it up, makes it her own.
With skills proof, Genevieve also whisked her recipes on this year's Kids Baking Championship, rising all the way to Season 11's semifinals.
What's your biggest takeaway from the show?
I feel like I just became a better and stronger baker in general.
And even though Yvonne and Gazwan are proud of their daughter, they say Genevieve's charitable nature is what really takes the cake.
So she's done Michigan Humane Society, St. Jude, Mary's Mantle, and then recently my sister actually entered the convent, and so the Chaldean sisters in Iraq, where the main mission home is there, they maintain the orphanage for all of the kids. So now a portion of her dessert orders go there.
That's why Gazwan loves supporting his little girl, be it as a financier, taste tester, or even rolling up his sleeves after a long workday as a physician.
When I come back and there is a third load of dishes there, I have to step in.
Do your family and friends expect free baked goods all the time now?
I usually give them the ones that turn out bad.
What's next?
I want to have like a cute little like tiny bakery, but it gets like big orders that I make cakes, macarons. It could be even be like a little coffee shop. And then from there, I want to be a judge on a baking show.
I think she's well on her way.
Yeah,
huh,
really.
Rob? Wow.
When you find something that you love that young, that's where that to me is amazing. You know, those kids are just, you know, goofing off, you know, whatever, as they should be. They're kids. But she found the thing and is going to do it.
And she donates to charity, too. We were talking, as we were watching it, about how 10% of her proceeds on every order go to charity. Wow.
See, so she's talented and altruistic and to be that young. Yeah.
Yes, a generous young lady. My goodness. I mean, they looked beautiful. I mean, they looked like a professional. That icing and the sprinkles is what
she had the technique down. And
yeah,
she knows what she's doing.
Her way around the kitchen.
And I get how watching those food shows on the network, like Top Chef or all the stuff, I get why that will totally spark your interest in food, because what they do and come up with and their knowledge of food ingredients, really, when you watch the pros do it on TV, it is kind of amazing, their skill. So,
creative.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really just like next level creativity.
It's a talent.
Some of those people. Yeah, they're
it
talented.
Is a genuine talent, like knowing food and cooking. Yeah.
Yeah. She's going to be like the next Giada De Laurentiis or somebody. I see it. I see
it?
her having like a cooking show. Rachel Ray, you know, she's going to, have her own show one day. I just
and
see
remember
it
your parents when you do. Give them a nice little.
Yeah.
Give them a nice little.
Don't
cut.
give them the ones that turn out badly.
Right.
Give them some good ones. All right. Well, stick around, please. We're going to show you the unique species of mushrooms that are seen in HBO's The Last of Us, and they apparently may not be so harmful after all. Thanks so much for staying with us. So HBO show The Last of Us, where mushrooms turn people into zombies, just wrapped up its first season. And what you may not realize is that the species of mushrooms in the hit show actually does exist.
Oh, all right. I must admit, never seen the show, but I hear it's incredibly good and very, very popular. So Vanessa Mishanja shows us the role that the real fungi play outside of the world of fiction.
See, vicious tarantulas, right? So dangerous and aggressive.
Maya Holmes is big on changing minds.
I frequently say, everybody likes insects, they just haven't figured it out yet. I'm Maya Holmes. I'm the Outreach and Education Coordinator for the Department of Agricultural Biology at Colorado State University. You uncomfortable with cockroaches?
At her university's bug zoo, her resident arthropods work as her ambassadors to open others up to the fascinating world of entomology, or all things bugs. Recently, this world and the world of pop culture has collided and has been throwing a lot of questions her way.
I talk to people about entomology for a living, so I'm always excited when people want to talk back to me about it. As long as people are able to separate the, fun scary from, actual being afraid of things.
Thanks to the hit HBO show The Last of Us, cordyceps have been getting a lot of attention. In the show, there are species of fungi that take over the brains of humans, throwing humanity into a dystopian spiral. The thing about cordyceps, though, is that they're real, but their targets are not us.
They burrow their way through that sweet exoskeleton that arthropods have and then hijack their nervous system. It does really happen in arthropods. It doesn't necessarily happen in anything else. So vertebrates, not going to be infected by cordyceps at any point.
We could thank our extremely complicated nervous system for that. See, bugs don't have a brain like we do, and the way their bodies work makes them very susceptible to be turned into one of the infected. Take ants, for example.
The cordyceps can infect their body within 3 hours of contact on the exoskeleton, so that's really quickly, just like in the show.
But as bad as they are for bugs, these fungi are actually very beneficial to us. Maya says there are many different kinds of cordyceps, and each type only impacts one species of bugs, which makes cordyceps a really powerful pest control tool for both agriculture and home use.
You can get the spores for those cordyceps that affect ants and termites and use those and not have to worry about it impacting anything else in your house. It's much better to be able to have a one-to-one treatment where you say, I have this one insect and I'm going to use something that only affects that one kind of insect. So cordyceps is so cool.
She says there are scientists right now working on developing cordyceps for different invasive species, harnessing their zombifying power to get rid of bugs that don't belong in certain environments, like the notorious spotted lanternfly, and leave indigenous species alone. As far as cordyceps ever making the leap to be able to crack our complicated nervous system, Maya says we are going to be just fine, and hopes that the new spotlight encourages others to get into her field.
There's so many different weird, cool little stories about our planet that you can tell through entomology and mycology. So I think it's really exciting and fun.
Okay.
Well, at least it's reassuring to know that they can serve a good purpose.
Yes.
To weed out the things that we don't need, don't want, or that are harming the environment.
Yes,
So
the
they can help
invasive
protect
species.
certain ecosystems. So there you go.
That is good.
Everything serves a purpose.
Right. Even if you don't like looking at a lot of these
She's just
creepy
freaked out by the
spiders.
spiders.
I know. I really couldn't look at the TV. I'm going to be honest. That was
So you don't want her job? Is that what you're saying?
absolutely not. Yeah. I just, God bless her. Yeah. She seems to enjoy it.
Yeah, you know what?
Couldn't do it. All the money in the world. No, thank you.
Not my cup of tea either.
No.
Maybe your first step could be just watching The Last of Us, or do you?
I've never seen it. Yeah, I'm like you. I've never seen it. And if there are lots of spiders and things, then I don't really
You're like,
think
no,
I'll
I'm
be
out.
able to see it.
I will check it out after Succession.
You
goes
tell
off the
us, yeah, you
air.
report back.
One obsession at a time. Right now, it's the last season of Succession. There you go. Oh,
yeah.
So good. So good. We need a story on that tomorrow. All right. Stick around to see the cutest collab between some farm animals, no less. Cute alert. We'll be back.